The opinions expressed are those of the show's host and not the staff or management of Port St. Lucie Broadcasters. Any reproduction without written consent of WSTU and WPSL is strictly prohibited. Now it's time for Quality of Life Radio, brought to you by Cigna and Aetna Medicare. Here are your hosts, Gary Owen and Tom Bouvier.
Hello and good morning, everyone. Thank you for tuning in on this extraordinary Tuesday morning to the world-famous Quality of Life radio show. Today is May 22nd, 2023. That means, Tom, we have 7 days left before the big day.
The big day
Oh, your birthday! Birthday boys in the house.
Whew,
yes,
I got it right.
May 29th.
Yeah.
Memorial Day is the day
I
after.
didn't know it was
May
your birthday,
30th.
yeah.
So, it's just for those of you out there who didn't know it was my birthday, yes, May 29th. And you can send the gifts right to 1611 Northwest Federal Highway in Stewart 34994.
Care of Tom Bouvier. I'll intercept. I
love it.
Do taste testing.
Yes,
and,
making sure that I don't get poisoned.
Yeah, no, that's right. We got to protect the king.
Oh, look at our puppy over there. She's watching us. Look at her. Look at little Leia. All right, so we're happy to say that May is a great month. Last week we talked about the cancer. We had some calls from our last week's show about cancer insurance. Spiked a lot of enthusiasm and interest. So if you missed last week's show, please tune in to the May 15th show last week and get some information about cancer insurance. Today we're going to be talking a little bit about life insurance. But we are broadcasting live here at the Owen Insurance Group studio in downtown, well, not in downtown Stuart, but just north of the Roosevelt Bridge, still in the city limits of Stuart, Florida, by the way. And we are broadcasting live on WSTU 1450 AM and WPSL 1590 AM, as well as, Tom,
Facebook
Live.
Quality of Life.
Most of you know how to gain access to Facebook, so just follow us, like us at The Quality of Life radio show, and you can tune in and see us live here in the studio and see our beautiful backdrop and our handsome faces.
And they can watch last week's show, as you said.
They need to be watching last week's show, for sure. I agree. Tom, we're here every Tuesday to impart fun,
happiness,
humor, wisdom,
joy,
happiness, joy, all great things.
peace, love. Gary, we bring all those things. We do try to have fun and make this entertaining, but we very serious about the information we give. It's relevant content. This is information that can really improve people's life and improve their quality of life, of course, because what you and I do, we share our knowledge, we present information about important insurance solutions. Complete straight talk. It's the no plop zone, and it's good old-fashioned straight talk that will help improve your quality of life. And because we have a mission at Owen Insurance Group, and that is to simplify insurance planning so that you can enjoy the stress-free life that you deserve. Because anybody shopping for any type of insurance, I tell you what, it can be very stressful, and the moment you get it done, complete, and you feel satisfied that you really got the best counsel and advice and best policy, it's like a ton of bricks.
100%.
Is off your shoulder. And once I got my life insurance, my cancer insurance, my health insurance, and all that in place, I almost feel like, come on, life.
Take on the world.
Whatever you bring out.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm set. So,
I was sitting there smiling because I was thinking that there may be some people, Tom, that like the plop zone. Maybe they like to be in the quagmire of the poop, and not like to deal with people who are transparent, honest, credible, and reputable.
Because I believe there's a phrase that, reality is for those people who can't handle fantasy, and some people like fantasy.
Very well
world,
said.
And they would rather believe a lie, and it's very difficult to convince somebody that they are believing a lie. It's easier to lie to them than convince them that they're being lied to. So.
Yes. There are those so deaf that cannot hear, and those so blind who cannot see.
Nice. Words of wisdom.
So today we want to talk a little bit about life insurance, because last week was cancer. So today, there is no greater asset to protect than your life. It's amazing. We spend ungodly amounts of money in our lifetime on automobile insurance, on homeowners insurance, on our boat insurance, and so forth. But you don't want to spend money on life insurance to protect your life and the ones that you leave behind and the ones that you love, and even the ones that say that you don't die. There are life insurance policies out there that you don't have to die to use. It's an amazing thing.
Life insurance has come a long way.
Oh, my God. Amazing what life insurance can do. Today, I want Tom to speak a little bit about a gift that grandparents can give. Christmas is going to be right around the corner. It's amazing. I mean, May's almost over. June will soon be here, and then December will soon be here. Christmas will soon be here. Grandparents, if you're listening to us today, this is for you. This next segment is about grandchildren, protecting your grandchildren and leaving behind a legacy. But Tom, before we talk about some of the other life insurance policies for everybody, we love grandchildren. Grandparents love to buy gifts.
They do. They love to spoil them. They love to give them all the sugar, candy, ice creams, and they'll get 2 scoops and they'll spend almost $10 for a high quality ice cream cone.
True.
And that thing, half of it gets plopped on the ground, the other gets all over their clothes, and about 25% gets in the kid's mouth.
Yep. And there goes your $10.
And then there's
down the drain.
The $50 remote control Mattel little toy for Christmas. A week later, it's in the trash. And so many times grandparents want to give their grandchildren something maybe that they didn't give their children. Maybe they now have the wherewithal, the money, the excess money that they're able to spoil their grandkids. That's kind of how it happens.
It's a great concept, actually.
Or they eat through that money and they break that money with the toys that go in the trash can, and the toy makers are laughing all the way to the bank.
So, are you saying then? Are you kind of alluding to the fact that grandparents can buy life insurance on their grandchildren?
That's exactly what I'm saying. And some out there would say, well, what a morbid topic that I'm going to buy life insurance on children. I mean, that's almost like you're wishing them to die. But actually, when we look at what a juvenile whole life policy can do, it's really a legacy. It's something that can last with that young person all throughout their lives. Yes. So from 0 to 18 years old, you can buy a policy for your grandchildren, and it's amazing. It's a whole life policy. It will grow in cash value. It's not going to be a lot of cash value because the premiums are so low, so perk your ears up. You don't have to spend a lot of money. You can put 5 children on one application with this one company that we really love to do business with, and anywhere from $5,000 up to $25,000 in whole life policy for a male is only $9.67 for $25,000 and $8.67 for a female. And for just $10,000 policy for the female, it would be $4.47 up to age 5 and $4.87 for someone who is a male. So a whole life policy is a policy that is permanent. The premiums never go up, and they can have this policy for life.
And cash value continues to accumulate.
It does. It does. So you say, well, what if they don't die in between 0 and 18 years old? Well, all the better. I mean, the goal is not to put this on them just because you think they're going to die, because 99.9% chance they're not going to die. But they have this whole life policy that at a certain point, after paying in for a certain amount of time, up to, I think about, it all depends on the policy, but once they get over 18, a person could actually stop making the payment, and they would have a policy that goes on for the rest of their life.
Yeah, and so a great gift would be like when that grandchild graduates, say, college, or some significant event in their life, or they get married. Transfer the ownership of that policy to that grandchild, and now they have something of real value. And that's what we can do here with you.
Right. And you say, well, what would an 18 or 20-year-old do with a life insurance policy? Why would they need that? Well, here's what happens. Once they get into those ages, they begin to make those lifelong decisions. Maybe I want to start smoking. Maybe I get some incurable disease. Maybe I start a family. And I'm kind of struggling. I don't have money to have a life insurance policy. But once you transfer it to them, they can pass that on to their spouse if they die. So it's a gift that lasts forever for just a small amount of payment. One less ice cream cone per month for the grandchildren.
I want to inject something here, just a true story with my life and my daughter. So I am thankful that when my daughter was 15, I took out a IUL life insurance, index universal life insurance policy out on my daughter to help to give to her at a point in time when she's ready to do it a life insurance policy that has cash value built into it. But thank God, Tom, that I did, because today, even in her early 20s, she's not able. Never qualify for life insurance. So we just don't know what's going to happen.
That's exactly what we were just saying. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But so if they become insurable, they have a policy. Gary,
that's right.
You're a good father.
That's right. Well, I wished I was a better father, but I think it's important that we look out for our children and our grandchildren, because most people don't want to think about our mortality and our morbidity, but we need to seriously think about these issues, and it's going to affect every one of us.
Especially, we don't want to think about it for our children or our grandchildren, God forbid. And unfortunately, if they did pass, that could take a burden off of the parents, whether it's for funeral arrangements.
Correct.
Or, for $25,000, beautiful ceremony, and if that were to happen. But again, for most people, this policy is something that'll be a legacy that lasts a lifetime.
And the great thing is, if you got, one grandchild, or you got 5 grandchildren, or you got 100, we can put up to 5 grandchildren on one application, and then we can do an extended list, as many as you want. So that's the beauty of these types of policies. And Tom, in the whole entire country, this particular company has been around for a very, very long time, since 1940s. They have the best premiums of all the other life insurance carriers out there for juvenile life policies, and we have it for you.
Absolutely, and see, give us a call for a free quote. We'll get the ages of your grandchildren, or even your children. If you're a parent and you want to put it on your children, you can certainly do that. But there's just a few simple questions asked. There's not going to be drawing blood, taking a physical, or anything. It's just a few simple application health questions. No need to provide health records. No medical exams required. And even though we put 5 children on a policy, each person, there's an individual policy issued for each child.
Correct.
The grandparents would own it, as Gary said, at an appropriate age. That policy can be turned over to their grandchildren, where they are the owner of that policy.
And there's only 7 basic underwriting questions that you have to answer no to. So it's fairly simple, very easy, and I think it's worth for you as a grandparent to give something of value for your grandchild, not something that's going to break. There's no intrinsic value. Here, there's great value in a juvenile life insurance policy.
Now, someone out there living in Florida, perhaps, and you have grandchildren in Ohio and New York and North Carolina, and let's say you have two in different states. You do not, number one, have to have the parent's signature. They do not have to live in the state where you're at. As far as us as licensed agents helping educate you on them and getting you enrolled in them, we just have to be licensed in the state in which you reside. So give us a call at 772-210-1020, and we'd be happy to give you some quotes on how you can leave a legacy and not just a broken toy. I mean,
I like that.
Really, I mean,
I like that.
You can fill the landfill with broken toys, and I used to say the toy makers are laughing all the way to the bank, especially right around
True.
New Year's Eve. Half the toys are in the trash can, and it's a sad thing. And they're expensive toys. And what you can do is leave a great legacy for your children through this juvenile policy.
It makes a lot of sense, and it's very affordable. So grandparents, give us a call. Owen Insurance Group at 772-210-1020, and we're happy to give you a free quote. No obligation quote. Why not do it? Pick up the phone today and give us a call, 772-210-1020. And additionally, so besides juveniles, besides children, what about for yourself? I mean, how important is it that you have a home? And there are seniors today, Tom. I mean, I know some of our clients are buying homes at 60 and 65. It's amazing. But having a life insurance policy, something happens that you have let's say a $400,000 home, $500,000 home, having a $400,000, $500,000 life insurance policy that will cover and pay that mortgage off. So God forbid when something happens to you, you're not leaving your spouse behind destitute and trying to afford that home by herself.
Absolutely. And the number one reason people don't even want to have a conversation about life insurance, Gary, is it's too expensive.
True.
And that is the number one.
It's a common misconception.
It is a very common misconception, and people say, well, I've got some health issues, I won't qualify. Well, there are a lot of policies. There's a guaranteed issue where there's no medical questions or underwriting questions to be asked. And the average mortgage, well, I just did a training yesterday, as a matter of fact, between, I think, 60 and 69, the average person, or like 45% of the people, almost half the people out there have at least a $209,000 mortgage left on their home. So to Gary's point, he mentioned 400,000, but the average out there is over 200,000 for half of the people, seniors.
Right.
So you can get a policy that would cover that. And I remember when I heard a story that said, if you are the main breadwinner especially, and you were to die today, and somehow you had the privilege to be able to look back on earth 5 years from now and your spouse and your children, and you could look in the window, what would you like to see in that house? You would like to see that the spouse is happy, the children are happy, they're well fed, the cars are paid off, the house is paid off. If they have college aspirations, they have a college fund all set up. In other words, they have their needs met, all their debts were paid when you passed away. And then conversely, what would happen if you did not have life insurance in place and you passed away, and then you look into that house 5 years from now? They're not in that house anymore. Mm-hmm. They had to have a fire sale to get rid of it, and now they're living in a little rental on the wrong side, a place that's really not their preferred place to live. They're in debt. Their car is breaking down every other month. The kids are only going to college if they can get, or whatever, So it's not a happy scenario. So if you're the breadwinner out there, you need to ask yourself, what would happen if you were to immediately die, and 5 years from now, those that are depending on, what would the situation look like?
And piggyback on what you just said, Will Rogers once said, I would love to see people who die without life insurance, everyone who dies without life insurance should come back and see the utter devastation they left behind with their family.
Oh, my. I did not know that.
Isn't that
quote.
Amazing quote? I mean,
no, that is, yeah.
Think about it. We don't want to think about it. That's the problem. We don't want to think that we're going to die. We don't want to think about one's mortality. It's morbid, right? I mean, that's the concept. But it's the right thing to do to protect your family, protect your assets. Life insurance is a gift of love. Why not do it? It's pennies on the dollar.
It makes you the hero. And what if your spouse turns to you and said, you just got diagnosed with terminal cancer, God forbid. But thankfully, you got your cancer policy from us all set in place. But you know you're going to die. And they look and say, well, that life insurance policy we had years ago, that's still active, right? I stopped paying on it last year.
Right.
You're not the hero for the rest of your life.
No, you're a zero.
Like you said, you're the zero.
From hero to zero.
If you're feeling like a zero out there, give us a call and we'll make you feel like a hero. And that's the stress-free living that providing proper health insurance education and getting the proper coverage provides for you.
Pick up that phone today. Give us a call, 772-210-1020. Get a no-hassle, no-obligation quote. And listen, we'll find a plan that fits and suits your specific budget. There are people that say, Gary, I don't want to get a life insurance because I don't want to go through the exam. I don't like needles. Wow. You just mentioned earlier that life insurance is not what it used to be. So it's great to know that there are life insurance carriers out there today who can get you express underwriting, meaning that if your MIB is clear, your Medical Information Bureau, and they do an RX check, they will guarantee issue you that life insurance policy under a certain amount and under a certain age. I think it's under 60 and under $1 million or less. So you can get a life insurance policy without having to go through all the hassle of having a paramedic exam, having a nurse come out and drawing blood and all that nonsense. So, and then, you know, there are, like, as I mentioned earlier, there are life insurance policies, you know, that you have death insurance, and then you have life insurance that has living benefits. So you can buy a death insurance policy if you just, you know, all you want to do is cover your death and pay the proceeds to your family if something happens to you. Or you can buy a life insurance policy that has living benefits, meaning that if you died, it would pay out to the family. If you didn't die, if you had a critical or a chronic illness in a long-term care situation where you can't meet 2 out of the 6 activities of daily living, you can accelerate all or a portion of your life insurance policy to cover those life events. And I will tell you that those types of insurance policies out there are less expensive than some traditional just death insurance policies.
That's right. So the life insurance policies today are so varied, so and somewhat complex for those who aren't used to looking at them. That's why, you know, we ask you to give us a call, have a conversation, and it's no pressure zone, no BS zone, no plop zone. We're just going to give you good old-fashioned straight talk, and we'll give you a free, no-obligation quote as well.
Tom, I have a question.
Okay.
What's the best age to buy life insurance?
Today.
I like it. And that is spot on. Now, what if they is it better to buy it at 20 versus 30 versus 40 versus 50 versus 60?
So the answer would be the younger you are. It's like when's the best time to plant an oak tree? Well, 100 years ago, but
right.
Second best time is today. So if you're in your 20s, 30s, or 40s, or
that's the best time.
That I am blown away. I showed in our class yesterday, I think a 32-year-old for like $500,000 was going to be like less than $100 a month.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that was a 30-year term. So from 31 to 61, they have coverage for $500,000 for, I think, like $80 a month. Now, if I were to try to get it, I'm 61. Believe me, $500,000 is not going to be under 100. It's going to be more in the 200 to 250 or maybe a little bit higher. But those are available out there as well. So
it's the greatest financial instrument there is. At the stroke of a pen, Tom, we can make someone's family, provide protection, peace of mind, and maybe even become a millionaire, right? At the stroke of a pen. That's what we do. That's the power that we wield as life insurance agents. So, and the opportunity to do it, like Tom said, is today. You might, if you delay tomorrow or a month from now, say, I'm just going to put it off. Something may happen to your health where you may not qualify for life insurance. So the best time is today.
Yeah, last week we talked about the cancer policies. Well,
Right.
the time to inquire about the cancer policies we can educate you about and enroll you in is not when you come back from the doctor having been diagnosed with cancer. It would be when you're healthy, when there's no signs of it, and the same thing with life insurance. The younger you are and the healthier you are at any age, that's the best time.
Life insurance is the true gift of love. I have, and I know we got 2 minutes left, so in the last minute here, I had a client in Port St. Lucie who owned a business, and very busy. He owned a landscaping business, and I finally was able to get him sat down because he was so busy as a business owner. He had a crew of 4 or 5, and we were able to provide him a life insurance policy on him, for his wife and his children, and then for his mom. 4 years later, at the tender age of 47, after church in the shower, had a massive heart attack on Father's Day. That was a very sad day when I received that phone call. But
I can't imagine.
the good news was that we were able to deliver her the proceeds for that life insurance policy. So the wife was able to stay in her home, Tom. The child
Perfect.
was able to still go to school and stay in the school, and she was still able to run and keep the business open. If that life insurance was not available, it would have been so much different. So that's the great stuff that we can do as insurance agents. Give us a call. Get your free quote today, 772-210-1020. And then we're at the end of the show already. So, and we forgot the quote of the day. So use your voice for kindness, your ears for compassion, your hands for charity, your mind for truth, and your heart for love. All right, thank you for joining us today. We hope that you enjoyed the show. Share us with your friends and family, your neighbors, and remember, stay safe, keep healthy, be happy, but enjoy your quality of life. Take care, everybody.